Now, how do you appreciate the success of this event? The turnout here is fantastic, and it shows how much the community loves you.
Oh my God.
What do you say about that?
I'm blown away. I mean, honestly, we thought 200 people, maybe I could get 200 people here. We had 354 people, and we stopped accepting people to say yes to us. We had to cut it off because the room was full, as you could see. We couldn't fit more people in. And that hurt because they're all friends of Arik Air, and you don't want to tell your friends they can't come over. And so we had people that spent over $1,000 to fly from Toronto down here and stay in the hotel and get transportation and food to be here tonight to tell us that we're important to them. How do I even put that into words, what that means to us? It's like, it tells me how important it is what we're doing, and it tells me I better get that energy button pushed again because I got to drive this thing on and make this thing better and just really make it more accessible to everybody that really is trying to fly us.
Thank you. In terms of competition, what challenges is Arik Airline facing? I mean, you guys are relatively new on the market, and there are other airlines, British Airways, Delta, Lufthansa, and all these other airlines that have flown Africans all over the world for decades.
Right.
What challenges does Arik Airline face?
Well, I would say in that realm, the biggest challenge is getting into the business market, the corporations that have business to many places around the world, and we are single focused. And the other carriers can leverage their large networks and say, well, if you want to get a good discount, I want you to fly us across all these cities, whereas all we can say is we want you to fly to this one city. American Express has not given us a merchant agreement yet, and that's the largest corporate card in the world. So we have to try to get companies that can use other credit cards instead of the American Express card. We're not in every reservation system yet. These are all things that take time, but on the positive side, we just became IATA. We passed our IOSHA audit, which is unbelievably technical and great. That means that we're seen as a safe airline by the US FAA standards. We've met every US standard of an airline that has to operate. We have the right to fly between the United States and Nigeria on our own operating certificate, which is a great achievement again. So we've really done terrific stuff. And we'll just keep knocking those other hurdles over one by one. And we're planning on being here for the long haul. So we're going to be expanding, we hope, into other cities. Houston is on our radar screen. The ambassador is yelling at me that we have to fly into Washington and Baltimore. And so there's a lot of pressure from the community here, and the businesses as well, that they really want us to be the full service carrier that they see elsewhere. And they'll jump all over us when we knock down a few more of those hurdles. So I see nothing but blue skies, favorable winds, everything is blowing in our direction, and I think you're going to continue to see us grow and prosper and become even a bigger, better, larger airline.
Okay, as you know, people circulate news on Facebook and all the social media outlets, and I would ask some of the questions that people have, they complain about, for instance. People talked about sometimes the major complaint that I've heard is that sometimes the flights are canceled, and it tend to be a couple of times more than twice, and people want to know why that's the case.
All right, we actually don't cancel very often by airline standards, but because we have limited aircraft and we only fly 3 times a week, I don't just dial up another plane. I'm not, Delta has, 1,000 aircraft. We have 23. So we're in a realm of, unrealistic competition in that regard. But the way people feel about how we treat them is what really matters. The rarity of our cancellations versus how we treat the passengers and how they feel, like we put them up in a hotel here in the US, we give them food, we give them transportation to and from the airports, and we keep them advised. We send them notes during the week, the day, and say this is what's happening, this is where we are. But I think if you were inside earlier when I talked, you heard me talk about our 3 operating principles: safety, security, and customer care. We are not going to operate unless the aircraft is safe. And that's the bottom line. And so if we have to cancel because of a safety issue, we're going to cancel. We're going to make that aircraft safe, and we're going to get the people out as fast as we safely can. And while they're in our care, in our custody, we're going to provide them with the best customer care that we can. That's my mandate, that's my mantra. And so far, as I said, we have the most repeat business of any place I've seen, so I think it's working. Unfortunately, cancellations are part of life. We don't want them. It costs us a lot of money when we cancel. We'd love to have never had a cancellation. But in Realm, I think this year we've only had like 4 true cancellations. I don't think we've had 4 true cancellations. We had to delay flights for like an extended number of hours, like maybe 8, 10, 12 hours on occasion. But those people, we get them out right away. Cancellation means overnights in hotels, maybe 1 or 2 nights in a hotel. And then, we operate the next flight comes in and we'll take them out on the second flight.
Thank you. And finally, price point wise, people also complaining that it would be great if you have like more specials. I don't know. I mean, I fly Arik Airlines now, so price-wise, I don't know how to really, I'm not making a comparison.
Yep.
Well, price point-wise, what can you guys do better to accommodate more Nigerians?
Price point-wise, we start out to be highly competitive at the low end of the spectrum. The difference is we seem to fill up our low-end seats faster than our competition does. And so we go up the scale, and like every airline, the more full the aircraft gets, the more pricey the seats are at the end. So we reach those pricier seat points faster than anybody else because we're the non-stop, we're the preferred airline, we're the #1 market share airline in New York to get to Lagos, Nigeria. So if somebody calls up, let's say 3 weeks after the big sales go on for that flight, they're going to get a higher price than they're going to get on another airline. And that's simply because we've sold out faster.
I see.
The other airlines typically catch up, and then we go for the more expensive seats together. But that's really what people mostly see. We are highly competitive. We would be out of business already if we weren't. And so people see that, but sometimes they see us just a little more expensive, a little faster, and that's just a factor of the pace of sale.